This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, welcome back everyone. So this particular segment is something which would be very important for you when you get into an IT project. So we'll discuss about which methodology works best for you when you work as an IT business analyst. Before even getting to finding out what works best for an IT BA, first let's get into another basic question as to what type of methodology is really good for a typical IT project. Most often when you ask the same question to most of the people working in IT industry also, the frequently faced response would be that agile is better than waterfall, and that's the reason all the companies are shifting towards agile, so on and so forth. So I just want to make things clear to you here that there is no fixed methodology saying that this is the best. It all at the end depends on the type of project, type of client, and the industry or the domain to which your client belongs. That actually determines which methodology is good and which is not good. At a very broad level, waterfall, we already are aware of it, right? That it is all about, completing the entire requirements, documentation, capturing, analysis, and all those things, approval, sign off, everything initially, maybe first 1 or 2 months, and then spend maybe 1 or 2 months in design and architecture, and then spend another maybe 4 months or 5 months or 6 months on development, then spend a few months of time on testing, and finally launch it. This is what happens in waterfall, whereas in agile, what happens is you split the entire project into multiple sprints. Each sprint roughly would be of around 2 weeks. So within every 2 weeks, you take a very small subset of requirements, you do the design, development, testing, and close it. Then go for the next set of subset of requirements, repeat the process, then do it for another subset of requirements, so on and so forth. So you split the entire project into small iterations like this. That is agile. Now, the next logical question would be then what type of projects really benefit from waterfall and what type of projects really benefit from agile. So here if you see, if your client's requirements are very well defined and there is very less scope of any changes, upcoming changes in the next few months of time, or at least till the project is going live, if the client is really very clear with the requirements, then waterfall really works very smoothly. In fact, you may not believe, but most of the clients actually love waterfall. I'll tell you the reason behind it, because it is more convenient for stakeholders. I'll come to that point later. Okay, but that is one point. And also when it comes to budgeting, putting up a number on the cost, timelines, and all those things, it's easier and it is more fixed in waterfall. So clients really like it when it is certain that yes, I need to spend this much amount on this project. Whereas agile is a little bit more fluid, so it becomes at the end of the day, it might happen that okay, few more requirements are coming from the stakeholders itself, which will again add to the cost. So there is always that leeway that should be given in agile, which they may not like. So be it in terms of cost or fixing the timelines, or be it in terms of convenience for the stakeholders, it actually works in the favor of the client to go with waterfall methodology. And there are certain situations where clearly defining requirements is very much possible. For example, imagine you're working for a client who is related to the pharmaceutical industry, or a particular customer who is related to the manufacturing industry. Maybe you're designing the software for a particular car. Then the car model, everything is already fixed. Now you're designing the software for it. So the chances of you having to make changes in between will be a little quite less actually. Similarly, pharma, when I'm saying it is because highly regulated one. So your pharma client cannot really mix and match things just like that. How when they feel today they got a requirement, tomorrow they get to implement. No, they have a stringent regulatory process which they have to stick to, and only then they can go out with it. So when you talk about such strictly regulated domains and all, so what happens is the requirements will not change much, they'll be fixed. So there again, your waterfall works. Large scale projects again focus on being waterfall because there's a better control on the cost. Or else if you follow agile for very large scale projects, then god forbid it'll make client run into losses sometimes. And then if there is any particular requirement where customer approval is there upfront, customer has already said that this is what I need, I'm clear with it, this is what you give me, you take these many months of time, I'm okay with it. That usually happens in B2B industries and all. So in this process again, waterfall really works very smoothly. Okay, so if anyone says no, no, agile is the go-to thing everyone is following, do not believe that. Okay, because whatever examples I've given you, the domains, the examples, the regulatory things and all, the preference of what the customers and the clients and all, that is really a fact. So in all these cases, waterfall works very well. Now of course the next question is, then where does agile work in that case, right? So there are a lot of other projects on the other side where agile is really the go-to methodology. For example, the most obvious reason is changing requirements. Now let's say that you're designing a mobile app, a gaming app, for example. Now the gaming industry is not strictly regulated, right? So today they may say, okay, we want to have this player one versus player two sort of game created. Tomorrow they'll say, no, no, let's have multiplayer mode, or let's have something like new features added, adding some new ways to monetize the journey. Anything can come up. So these requirements will not be fixed. They keep on changing, and every time when you release something, there'll be a few more things coming up which can really make the game much more interesting and captivating for the gamers. So keep on adding those requirements, keep on changing it, keep on upgrading it, keep on releasing new patches. This keeps on happening. I have taken an example, extreme example of gaming, but you talk about any other thing, maybe any end customer facing, maybe a banking app, maybe a hotel uh, app, or maybe a ticketing platform, or anything like that. All of these things, the changes keep on happening. So agile is what will really help in these cases, and also where there is a rapid delivery possible. Like today, I have developed an app which is used for grocery shopping or an e-commerce website. I can rapidly develop something and add those changes and release one more version of it within next week or maybe another 2 weeks. So that when there's a feasibility of doing this quite often, then obviously the requirements also keep changing quite often. And in that case, again, agile works very well. When you're talking about something like innovation, experimentation involving projects, where things are not really well defined even for the stakeholders. When stakeholders are working into something which is not clearly well known, maybe a new platform to book concerts, or a new platform where customers can do something like some collaboration, or a social media platform. All of these things require a lot of innovation, and a lot of experiments should be carried out to find out what really works. And then once you find that sweet spot, hit it and make it big. In these things again, you can always blindly say that it is agile which really works. And at the end, whenever there's a user centric approach, you know um, any marketing related stuff and all that things and all, where there's a lot of focus on what is it that the end customer would really like, because customers mindsets keep changing, customers preferences, choices, trends, fashions, all of these keep changing all the time. So if your client is into an industry where these things are severely impacting their business, then definitely they'll say we want something which can be developed and launched to the market as soon as possible. If we require to completely scrap it and develop it from beginning, we should be able to do it. Again, in those cases, it is agile which works. Okay, so there is scope of agile as well as waterfall in the market. Do not go blindly by a statement that waterfall is dead. It is not. Now imagine a project wherein there's a big bank like a HSBC, or a Goldman Sachs, or a Bank of America, or Citibank, Standard Chartered, something like that. They have launched something in the market of US which is running very successfully. Now they want to just repeat that in a new geography, maybe in the European region or in Australia region. Then of course the currency changes. There could be few financial regulatory things which need to be incorporated into the product. Maybe they launched a new loan product in the US market. It runs very successfully. They want to replicate it in Europe. Do you think they have to really reinvent the wheel again? No. So they'll say that we are already aware of what really is expected by the customer. We need to tweak it here and there, maybe just in the way we show the currency figures, maybe in the exchange figures, and then things here and there. Maybe the financial regulation stops us from doing this, so instead of this we do this. That's it. Remaining everything exactly, it will be the same. In that case, of course, you don't have to think about it. It is waterfall. Okay. So as I said, there are a lot of ways in which waterfall works and agile works. Now let's get into the question of what really works for you as a business analyst. Okay, so I would say that as a business analyst, you should be flexible enough to be able to work in waterfall project, and then immediately switch to an agile, and then immediately switch to another waterfall method based project. After this, you should be having that sort of flexibility, because when you do that, many organizations will really value you as a business analyst, because you're not getting stuck to a particular methodology. Rather, you're being available for both of these things to work. And apart from that, it allows you to contribute to a wide range of projects. Okay, and you will be flexible, you'll be skilled in both methodologies, and you'll become a valuable asset for any company out there. Okay, so be aware of what really is important, and how you can contribute to it, and see what really works for you, and then keep yourself open minded to be part of any type of project. Okay, because once you work for a couple of years as an IT business analyst, then you might really narrow down to one specific path, which is another topic altogether, which we covered in the career path earlier. But within those couple of years when you're working as a business analyst, you should not confine yourself to any one domain or any one particular methodology as such. That's for your better career options later. Okay, I hope this helps really. Okay, we'll stop this here, and we'll look into the documentation part in the later videos also. Okay, thanks everyone.